Last night, we witnessed yet another heated presidential debate between Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. As expected, the stage was full of back-and-forth exchanges, but one thing was clear. Vice President Harris held her ground and made her points crystal clear. Today, we're going to take a closer look at some of the key moments that stood out, and to help us unpack it all, we'll be looking at Representative Jasmine Crockett's insightful take from her appearance on MSNBC. One of the major topics that took center stage was the issue of abortion and the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Vice President Harris made it clear that the rollback of abortion rights is not only a violation of women's autonomy, but a step back in time. She pointed out the danger this decision poses, especially for Black and low-income women, who will be disproportionately affected. Donald Trump, on the other hand, tried to play to his base by standing firm on the Supreme Court's decision. But Harris wasn't having it. She stressed the need for reproductive rights to be protected and highlighted the importance of having leaders who respect a woman's right to choose. In a bold moment, moderator Lindsey Davis called out Trump for one of his common lies, telling him directly that no state in the U.S. allows a baby to be killed after it's born. Representative Jasmine Crockett later echoed these sentiments, praising Harris for standing strong and reminding viewers that these rights are personal, not political.
President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Now let's hear directly from Representative Jasmine Crockett, who went on MSNBC right after the debate. She broke down her thoughts on the key issues we just discussed, especially focusing on the importance of protecting women's rights and holding leaders accountable for the misinformation that's being spread.
So Texas actually was ground zero on abortion restrictions.
Absolutely.
We saw with Wendy Davis and all those protests for years before Dobbs.
Yeah.
And what Chuck Todd was just saying as you were walking in was that there was a Kamala Harris on the abortion issue is so different than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Because unlike other men, he just is of a generation and of a background that he was never comfortable talking about abortion, and certainly not with the empathy of his vice president.
Yeah, well, this is an issue that the vice president has always taken as hers. This is something that she was out on the campaign trail, making sure that women felt comfortable with this administration going forward, knowing that they would fight to preserve their rights. And when you talk about Texas being ground zero, it wasn't that Texas was ground zero. Texas still is ground zero. In January, the Republicans in Texas plan to introduce a measure to actually bring about the death penalty as it relates to abortion. So unlike what Donald Trump said, which we know he's a liar, alternative facts, whatever you want to call it, we did not want the Dobbs decision to take place. We did not want the overturning of Roe. And what is so sad to me as a Texan is that Roe v. Wade is a Dallas, Texas case. Henry Wade was the district attorney right there in my district. And so here it is. Texas has a rich history of giving women their rights. And now Texas history is actually going the other way. And so when the vice president says we won't go back, that's exactly what she means. We won't go back to these repressive policies that they are trying to push on us. And just so Donald Trump knows, in case he doesn't, not every state has an opportunity to actually put this to a vote, because if Texas could, we would, but we don't have that opportunity.
I hope you found this breakdown helpful, and it gave you a better understanding of what went down during the debate. Big shout out to Vice President Kamala Harris and Representative Jasmine Crockett for standing up for what's right. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. And remember, stay woke. See you in the next one.